Well, hello and welcome to Wildcat Week. I'm Roger Alcock. Well, the men's basketball team earned the program's 10th Crossroads League championship in their game against Spring Arbor in that big victory on Tuesday. And here to celebrate that win is the head coach of the Wildcats, Greg Tonagel. So, Coach, welcome back to Wildcat Week. The Wildcats have, let's kind of put out there, you've earned at least a share of the Crossroads League championship, which obviously is a goal at the beginning of every season. Second time in a row, 10 times in the last 13 years. But it never comes easy. There's a lot of work behind that.
No, I mean, in this league, there were times we wondered if we'd be in the top four.
Yeah.
I mean, we lost a couple tough ones to start out, and then we obviously had that hiccup at Goshen. But we stayed the course. This team continued to get better every single day and buy in. And then, you know, if you have that mentality over the long haul, the process kind of takes care of itself.
And again, to put it in perspective, you know, you've been around the league for 14 years. I've been watching Crossroads League basketball for 20 plus years. I don't remember a league that, especially the top half, was as strong. Yeah. Well, even top to bottom. But you have 5 teams in the top 16 in the country. It was and is an incredibly loaded conference this year.
Yeah, we have 4 in the top 11,
yeah.
Which I believe there's 4 of the top 8 teams in the country right now, and it says a lot about this league. And but I think what we do is we obviously beat each other up, but we also prepare each other. So then when we get in the postseason, and we've seen it, and our whole league has seen it. There's nothing we're going to see at the national tournament that we haven't seen yet.
Well, this game against Spring Arbor was huge, obviously, because as we said, it was the kind of the key game for that regular season championship. Spring Arbor, number 3 team in the country, they have had a really good year. They're extremely well coached. They're not the biggest team. They might not be the most athletic team, but there are not many teams out there that are a lot tougher than they are, and they're really well coached. That was a big win for you guys.
They're a team. They're the definition of a team.
Yeah.
They're a collection of individuals that fit, and so they no longer are individuals. You know, their sum is far greater than the individual pieces, and they've really put it together this year. We're
going to take a look at some of the highlights from this game, and the first half in particular. You know, this was a game of runs for sure. It seems like games are unfolding that way more than it used to be, but back and runs and of 9 or 10 points in a row, and it seemed like whenever you guys would jump out a little bit, boom, Spring Arbor would respond and come right back. But I love the balance you guys displayed, I think, from start to finish.
Yeah, it was a game of runs, as you said. We jumped out, then they went on a run, took a 9-point lead, and then we went on that 31-9 run or whatever it was. But when you can score the basketball like both teams can, you can get hot, and the other team's got to find a way to break that rhythm.
You know, we saw Trevor Waite hit a 3, Kenny Coffey hit a 3, Kyle doing his thing. But Evan Maxwell has been, I think, more intense and more focused in the last stretch of 5 or 6 games than I think we've ever seen him.
Yeah, Evan's locked in. Yeah, he realizes his senior year, there's not a lot of time left, and he's giving everything he's got.
You know, that guy got to talk about, I think he had a tip in a minute ago, but was Joel Okafor. He only scored 2 points, but he was a warrior that entire game.
Absolute warrior. I mean, he spent half the time on the floor in the second half diving for loose balls, and we turned a couple of those into points on the other end.
Kenny Coffey knocked down the other 3 there. He had 17 points here, guys, but he's 5 of 8 from three-point range. He's really starting to get his shot dialed in at the right time of the year.
Yeah, Kane adds another dimension for our offense, but gives spacing to guys like Evan and Kyle. And I mean, when he makes 5 threes, boy, that's a huge lift for us.
Oh, for sure. And Grant Smith there with the really nice take to the basket. Grant had another fantastic game for you. 22 points. He was 6 of 8 from the field. Very efficient game from Grant Smith.
Yeah, look how many times he got to the free throw line. Last couple games, I think he's gotten there over 30 times, and he's playing very aggressive and very confidently right now.
How about Trevor Waite, the stretch of games he's had for you? At Taylor, he was huge. On senior day, he had a great game against Huntington. This game for you, came off the bench at 8 points and took a charge, I think. I like what Trevor's doing to kind of cap off his career out of you.
He's having a great senior year, and he adds a spark to our bench. Trevor's always done that. This is what you want this time of year from your seniors.
You know, there was a point in this first half where you guys got up on Spring Arbor, but again, to their credit, they closed out that first half on run and went into the locker room with the 1-point lead. But you guys started out the second half strong, regained the lead, and then never relinquished it.
Yeah, it started right there. The coffee three. Kyle starts to get hot. Our defense finally buckled down.
And there's Evan working his way inside again. And, you know, got to mention Paul Marindet. You know, he scored, what, 20 points for them on that game. And Joel was hanging on him the whole game. That kid is a strong guard.
Yeah, I mean, that was strength on strength is what I said. Joel, there's nobody in the weight room that's got his strength. And Paul on the floor is probably the strongest player in our league. So that was a fun matchup to watch.
You know, we talked about Joel only scoring 2 points and the defense he played. He had 7 assists on the game. We saw the one to Evan just a moment ago. But now you're in the middle or taking off on that big stretch, a 31-9 run. And Coach, you're scoring buckets like crazy now. You're hitting threes and running the floor and doing great things, but you don't make a 31-9 run unless you're playing some really good defense.
Yeah, you know, like I said, I wish our defense was a little more consistent, but when we need to, it's something we can fall back on, and our guys really buckled down in that run.
Now Kyle starts doing what he does. I'll be honest, during the call of the game, I kind of chuckled a little bit because it's fun to watch, but you're not surprised when Kyle does stuff like this. This, to me, was the play of the game.
Yeah, Grant kind of, I guess, put it out of reach at that point. What a finish by Grant.
You know, it was the great finish started by Joel Okafor with the great diving effort to get on the floor and make the steal. And I thought that epitomized his effort for the day.
Yeah.
Well, so now we're winding down this game and you come away with the victory, 90-79. You have a share of the conference title, but to win it outright, no pressure. Yet you really have to win the final game of the season, regular season game of the season, on the road at Marion. And of course, Marion is sitting in third place right now. They're having a great year. We had a tremendous battle with them here in Lucky Arena. So nothing like finishing out the year on the road at Marion, though, I guess.
You know, I think when the schedule came out and we saw this game, I think there was, you never want to look down the road, but at the same time, I knew that this game would have implications and it would be a big game and it would be a very big challenge to go on the road. But I think our guys are excited. I think we're embracing it. What a way to finish the year on the road at a place like this.
You know, trying to put into perspective the quest for a league championship. It's such a long season. You know, we've been talking basketball since back in September. It's such a long season. You play to win for a championship. You hope to get to that point. And it's just kind of funny how it seems to come down to the last game of the regular season. But I don't know, to put that in perspective, I think your guys are up for that challenge.
Absolutely. I mean, our guys have played in some big games. They've been a part of big moments. And, you know, one of the key, I guess, concepts of our culture is being fearless. And so you can't go into a game like this and win unless you are fearless. You can't be paralyzed. You can't be thinking, you know, what happens if. You got to go in there and give it your all and play. And that's what I expect our team to do on Saturday.
All right. Well, Coach, thanks for coming in. Congratulations on that victory. And we hope we're talking next week about, you know, solo champions in the Crossroad League. So good luck this weekend.
Thanks, Raj.
Well, as we said, the Wildcats finish out their regular season on Saturday as they travel down to Indianapolis to take on the Knights. That game at Marion starts at 3 p.m. Well, when we come back, we'll talk with the head coach of the women's basketball team, Ethan Whaley, about their victory against Spring Arbor. So don't go away. Well, welcome back to Wildcat Week. Now, the women's basketball team took on Spring Arbor last night and were able to pull away in the second half for the victory. And here to break down that victory is the head coach of the Wildcats, Coach Ethan Whaley. Ethan Whaley. And Coach, the win was so big, I'm getting choked up. But
so emotional.
It was a big win because, Spring Arbor, who has struggled admittedly throughout the season, actually have been playing some pretty good basketball of late. They came in, I thought they played extremely hard, particularly in that first half. They were knocking down some shots. And, I mean, we had a tight ball game there, especially through one half of basketball.
Yeah, we were up 1 going into halftime. And you got to credit Spring Arbor. They were doing a really good job of, with their back cuts, they run a Princeton offense. And so when you, it's a timing-based offense. So when you allow them to move the ball with freedom, they make the right reads and they're very good. In the second half, I thought the biggest difference was we turned up the pressure a little bit. We were disruptive, threw their timing off, and forced them into, I believe, 12 turnovers. And we held them to 16 points in the second half. I was really proud of that.
Yeah, 16 points, 6 of those in that vital third quarter. And for the Wildcats, a big win because it kind of snaps that 2-game slide, gets you moving back in the right direction as we start to put a wrap on the regular season. So it's good to have that momentum swing back in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of good things that we did against Huntington and Taylor, but we just came out on the wrong end. And sometimes you can feel worse than maybe you should if you lose a couple in a row. So it was good to be back on the winning side. Great to have that momentum going into a huge game down at Marion.
We're going to take a look at some highlights here in just a second. But even though we celebrated the seniors last Saturday, this really was the last regular season home game for some of your seniors. And I thought Nicole Ignashik and Katie Key stepped up really big for you that night.
Yeah. They, I mean, they played like seniors. You know, they led with passion. And last night, I felt like our team really fed off of that and matched their level of passion. And that's why it was such a fun victory for us.
We talked about Spring Arbor, in that first quarter, especially as there was Nicole with the offensive rebound and the putback, but they hit their first 3 threes and they got out in front 9-4. So again, they were playing well, but I thought your team did look focused and was working really hard the entire night.
Yeah, I think there was a greater purpose last night than we had seen out of our team. The passion and what we would say is juice was really high, and I think it led to a lot of big plays. I mean, early on in this first half, we gave up some easy looks. But like I said, in the second half, we started to disrupt and play with a lot of juice.
You see 2 more of the 15 points by Nicole Ignashik. She had 15 points, 7 rebounds. She only took, 9 shots, or she was 6 of 9. I thought she did a good job being selective with her shots.
Yeah, she continues to grow in her decision-making and finishing ability. I was really proud of her facing the double last night. She played with the most poise that I think we've seen this year, and we need that to continue if we're going to be any good down in Marion.
Now we're in the second quarter. Dayton Groninger hit that nice 3. She had to drive to the basket there, but Nicole it's actually Elena with the putback. Yeah. Elena came off the bench for you guys, played some solid minutes. There she has the assist to Stephanie Conrad. Your bench was really, really good for you last night.
Yeah, that's something that we've been lacking the last few games. Elena, Steph, Janae came in, was really good again. So when we have 8 players contributing versus 4 or 5, it changes the dynamic of our team. And so proud of those girls for the way they stepped up last night.
Here is just a moment ago, Margot Wolfter hit that jumper, but that was a big play right there. The shot clock was winding down there at the end of the half, and Barnett knocked down that 3. We took a look at it, and it was a good shot. So, it moves us into the third quarter, and that's when you guys just take over the ball game. And it started with the defensive end.
Yeah, absolutely did. Like you said earlier, we held them to 6 points in the third quarter, 10 in the fourth. We went on a stretch there where we went on a 20-0 run. And it really happened because we were hunting great shots offensively. We were playing with passion and we pursued the basketball offensively on offensive rebounds here. And then, like I said, defensively, we were very disruptive.
Part of that big run, Katie Key, one of the seniors we talked about, knocked down the 3. She got missed that one there. But Stephanie Conrad had multiple offensive rebounds and putbacks. And part of that, you had 46 points in the paint last night. And so really dominant performance, getting great shots inside.
Yeah, we've been dominated the last couple of games in the paint. So it was good to get on the other side of that and give a paint presence versus allow a paint presence.
Well, as you said, the Wildcats went on a 20-0 run with about 3.5 to go in the third quarter. That stretched into the fourth quarter. You pull away with a 26-point victory. And so now, with that, the Wildcats are solidly in third place in the conference. Really doesn't, in terms of where you finish in the conference regular season, Saturday's outcome doesn't have much of a factor or much of a bearing. However, you got a big challenge on Saturday to go down to Marion, to take on a top 10 team, see if you can't really make a case for your team in the national tournament. And as Coach Herm Edwards would say, you play to win the game. So it's a great opportunity.
Yeah,
Nothing to lose.
Yeah, what an opportunity. I mean, there's so many ways you could go. I mean, one, you have an opportunity to play spoiler. You know, unfortunately, the team that would then win is Taylor. You never want that to happen, but you do get a chance to spoil a really good team's finish to their year. Revenge is obviously a big one. They came in here and got one from us. We want to return the favor, and then lastly, like you said, you know, you want a chance to play in the national tournament, play for a championship, and Saturday night will be an opportunity for us to prove that we should be included in those teams in Iowa.
All right. Well, Coach, again, congratulations on that nice victory. We definitely will be talking about the Wildcats, at least one home game in the conference tournament next week. We don't know who that will be yet, but first things first, good luck on Saturday against Marion, and thanks for stopping by.
Appreciate it, Rod.
All right. Well, as we mentioned, the women's basketball team will be in Indianapolis on Saturday to take on Marion. Tip-off for that game is at 1 p.m. Well, when we come back, Mikala Woodfork will bring us the breakdown, and we'll talk to some tennis players before they start their spring season, so don't go away. Well, welcome back to Wildcat Week. We're going to send it over to Mikala Woodfork with this week's breakdown.
Thanks, Roger. Track and field had their two-day Crossroads League championships meet over the weekend. The women earned 3 NAIA standards, with the 4x800 relay team earning an A standard, Jessica Sprinkles earning the B standard in the 600-meter run at a time of 1 minute 38 seconds, and Lorna Betchel earning the B standard in the pentathlon with 3,136 points. For the men, Chad Ellens reached another NAIA A standard in the 600-meter run at a time of 1 minute and 21 seconds. The distance medley relay team went beyond. The distance medley relay team went beyond the A standard with a time of 10 minutes and 17 seconds. The teams wrapped up the second day of the tournament in third place with 119 points. Brennan Coyle won the shot put at 17.18 meters, and Jesse Saxton won the mile run at 4 minutes and 15 seconds. February 9th, women's basketball had their second straight league game against Huntington University and had an unfortunate 69-61 loss. The men's team, however, were able to beat Huntington 104-98. Kyle Menga scored 38 points, and Grant Smith set his new career high with 31 points this game. Their scores alone made for 69 of the Wildcat points. Sheesh. Well, that's all I have for you on the breakdown this week. Back to you, Roger.
All right, well, thank you so much, Mikala. Now it's time to turn our attention to tennis, and Indiana Wesleyan Tennis is kicking off their spring season today and tomorrow. And here to talk about their upcoming spring season, some tennis players, Grant Yager and O'Reilly Worland. So, guys, welcome to the show. And, Grant, I got to start with you because I was pleased to hear that you actually do watch Wildcat Week.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Maybe not your favorite show, but
yeah, probably not my favorite.
Right behind The Office?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, guys, first let's get to know you a little bit better. I'll start with you, Riley. Just tell us where you're from, what year in school you are in, and what you're studying here at Indiana Wesleyan.
So I'm born and raised in Marion, Indiana. I'm a freshman, and I study Christian Ministries.
All right, and Grant?
Born and raised in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I'm currently a sophomore here, and I am studying biology as well. So.
And future plans with that? Still up in the air, or?
Still up in the air. Probably maybe research or going into a healthcare type of thing. Maybe I'm thinking mostly dentistry or maybe an orthodontist. That'd be really cool.
Awesome.
Just a lot of schooling, so I just got to figure that out right now.
Well, let me ask you. Riley, you're a freshman. Now you're in your second year, Grant. But how do you draw the balance between student and athlete? Because both can be a full-time job
Absolutely.
unless you do it right.
Yeah, that's something that was tough for me my first year, I'd say. I would want to hang out with friends, and then I'd also have to go, I'd be practicing every day for at least 2+ hours, and then we would have matches all the time. Then I'm taking all these really, hard classes. So just to try to balance that out, I had to find friends within each class and then kind of, manage it that way. But this year it's been a lot better for sure, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, Riley, let's talk a little bit about the tennis season, because really, tennis in college, it's a year-long sport.
Yeah.
In the fall, you kind of basically focus on the conference portion of your schedule. And in Indiana Wesleyan, the guys team, you went 15-1 in the fall. You were undefeated in the regular season portion of your schedule. You go into conference tournament play. You go through the first 2 rounds, and then you're upset in the championship by Marion. But can you put that fall season in context and what that was like for you coming in as a freshman?
Yeah, I mean, at first it was a bit of an adjustment period, playing with the competition compared to high school and USTA. But I think we all played really well for the most part. And we had an adjustment period, but in the end I think we all improved a lot. And we got together as a team and we really played well. And it's just, unfortunately, with the conference tournament, when we got to the championship, a few circumstances with the environment got changed, and Marion played better than us, and they got the best of us this time.
Well, so now that means that the NAIA National Championship tournament is in the spring. So you'll have a full slate of spring matches.
Absolutely.
By which you can, you play a pretty brutal schedule, actually. A lot of
Really
Division
tough
II
schedule,
schools
yeah.
and some really high-ranked teams. So you can still earn your way into that national championship tournament by doing well this spring. So you went through it last year. The spring portion of your schedule, it is a lot of games and some really good competition.
A lot of matches. Yeah, we play some of the best teams in the country all year long. And I'd say towards the end of the year, it was getting really hard for us. We would play, matches after match, and we would just be, hurting, and we would still, gut it out. And we actually came out with some pretty awesome wins last season, but it didn't really matter because we already qualified for nationals. It's a little bit different this year. We have to get wins. We can't get tired. But I think we're playing a little bit less of matches than we did last year. So it shouldn't be as taxing as it was.
Well, just to give people a heads up, you have Grand Valley State, a good Division II school, coming up this weekend. But the goal would be get to the NAIA Nationals down in Mobile, Alabama.
Absolutely.
Back coming up in May. So you have about 2 months. Last question for you, Riley, is you guys are still a young team. I mean, you're a freshman. You got to be excited about kind of where the future lies for this team.
Yeah, we're really excited. We got young team, me and Yager and a few other guys, and we have a few really good recruits that are coming in. So I can only expect that we're all gonna, branch off each other and play really well and get better, not just as tennis players, but as brothers and sisters.
Awesome. Well, guys, again, good to have you on the show, and good luck during this spring portion of your schedule. And we'll look forward to talking about some big Wildcat victories here in the future.
Awesome.
All right?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, as we said, the Wildcats will be back in action, actually starting tonight as they take on Grand Valley State. Those matches start at 8 p.m. Well, that is all we have for you on this episode of Wildcat Week. If you'd like to watch more of Wildcat Week, just like Grant, you can visit our website, wiwtv.com. There you can watch past episodes and connect with us online. Again, that is wiwtv.com. And there you can stay connected with all our local programming. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's WIWTV 51. Well, we look forward to seeing you next week. So for all of us here, thanks for watching Wildcat Week.